Douglas Adams was well known for his book, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. He claims it came from an incident in 1971 when he was hitchhiking around Europe as a young man with The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Europe book. It is said that whilst lying drunk in a field with a copy of a book, he was looking up the stars and thought, it'd maybe a good idea to write a book about hitchhiking around the galaxy. So hence along came this book, and it was made into a movie eventually. Adams died aged 49 of a very sudden heart attack in a gym in Santa Barbara. Sir Alan Sillitoe was an English writer. He was most well known for his novel Saturday Night and Sunday Morning, and also his book, The Short Story of the Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner. Sillitoe died of cancer on the 25th of April, and he was aged 82, and here he's buried at our Highgate Cemetery.
Pete was born in Cheshire, England in 1959. He was a singer, songwriter and TV personality. His band, Dead or Alive, was famous for their number one hit, You Spin Me Right Round. Spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby, right round, round. He starred in many reality TV shows, including Celebrity Big Brother, where he came fifth. He was also famously known for his ever-changing appearance and cosmetic surgeries. Pete died at his home in London, England, of a sudden heart attack on the 23rd of October 2016, aged just 57.
Much to my husband's disgust, and probably some of yours, I had no idea who Sir Marc Brunel was, but apparently he was very famous. He was French, and he is an engineer and inventor who only went and solved the historic problem of underwater tunnelling. He also designed machines for sawing, bending timber, knitting stockings, printings. He had sawmills at Battersea in London. And you probably know him for the building of the Brunel-designed tunnel under the River Thames.
Jean Simmons OBE was a Hollywood actress in the 1950s. She starred in Hamlet and Guys and Dolls, where she won a Golden Globe Best Actress Award. Jean died of lung cancer at her home in Santa Monica on the 22nd of January 2010, aged 80. Sadly, Alexander is more well known for this picture. Alexander was a former Russian FSB Secret Service officer. Himself and other officers investigated and accused their superiors of the assassination of a Russian tycoon. Alexander was arrested many times after this, but courts dismissed his charges every time. After his last arrest in 2000, Alexander fled to London and was granted asylum. He went on to write books about the FSS and accused them of acts of terrorism to bring Putin into power. He also accused Putin of murdering a female journalist. On November 1st, 2006, Alexander fell ill. He was poisoned by polonium-210. Alexander was in the unique position of trying to help to solve his own murder. Alexander died on November 23rd, 2006 of poisoning. Jane Arden was an actress, songwriter and poet. In the 1950s, Jane rose to prominence for her writings for stage and TV. Her work was deemed radical for its time because her growing interest in feminism and anti-psychiatry was reflected in her writing. Jane took her own life on the 20th of December 1982 in Yorkshire. Philip Harben is generally credited as the first celebrity TV chef. He approached the BBC in 1942 and asked if he could be on TV. When asked what he could do on TV, he replied, "I could cook a little." He went on to present several early cookery shows and released more than 20 cookery books. He died in Paddington in London on the 27th of April 1970, aged just 63. Jeremy Beadle was born in East London in 1948. He was a prolific writer, presenter and producer for TV and radio. To get started in TV, he sent facts and questions to many TV shows and presenters. He was best known for his practical jokes on his hidden camera show Beadle's About. He produced many books on general knowledge and interesting facts. This led to him writing and hosting several well-known quizzes. He worked tirelessly for charity, raising around 100 million for good causes. He lived in Highgate, close to the famous cemetery where his ashes are now buried. A few years before his death, Jeremy had been diagnosed with cancer of the kidney and chronic lymphocytic leukemia. Jeremy died on the 30th of January 2008 of pneumonia.
So this memorial in Kensal Green is of an 11-year-old boy called Meddy Oliver, who died in a terrible freak horse riding accident. He had a massive love of school, and it was his wish throughout his life that he would like to raise money to allow children in Africa to go to school and share his love for school. I've dropped the link to the page down below. I'm in no way affiliated with it, but I just feel it's like amazing to carry on his name. He was clearly very loved, supported Arsenal, was a really keen football fan, hence this memorial, hence the size of it was massive, and it was so beautiful. It was definitely worth a visit, so if you want to check it out, I've dropped the link in the credits for the photos down below. Here we have Alan Howard and his wife Sally. Alan was in the theatre and he did some television work. He was known in The Return of Sherlock Holmes and Midsummer Murders and Foyle's War. He was Spenlow in David Copperfield. He died in 2015 of pneumonia, and his wife Sally died just a year later. Here we have Michael Faraday's graveyard coming up. I'm not going to pretend to know what I'm talking about, so I am going to give you a little snippet from Wikipedia. He basically did research into the magnetic field around a conductor, and he was the first person to ever invent such a thing called a Bunsen burner, as we can all remember that from school. He also realised that magnetism could affect rays of light. He was just a really, really good English scientist of his day. He died on the 25th of August 1867, aged 75 years. He was meant to be buried in Westminster Abbey, but he turned that down. But he do have a memorial there next to Sir Isaac Newton's tomb. He was actually buried in the non-Anglican section of Highgate Cemetery, which is what we're looking at today. So here we're looking at the grave of Helen Bamber. Now, some of you may not have heard of Helen. I certainly hadn't until I started to do my research. But she set up a medical foundation to help victims of torture. And in 2005, she set up the Helen Bamber Foundation, which gave expert care and support to refugees and asylum seekers who'd suffered from or any sort of torture, physical abuse, sexual abuse, psychological, and it's still going today. So I thought she would be worth an absolute mention in today's video.